A recent Radio Canada investigation has exposed a right bloody scandal in the grocery industry. Turns out those fresh meat labels can be more misleading than a Michelin star on a greasy spoon. That's why we've gone on a mission to separate the culinary heroes from the zero hygiene nightmares. We're talking about the best and worst places to buy your meat in 2024. So buckle up, you donkey, and get ready for a wild ride through the supermarket meat aisle. Right, let's talk Safeway. Now, they've been around the block a few times and their reputation is like a mixed grill. A bit of good, a bit of needs improvement. They're not exactly known for being the cheapest sods on the block, but catch them on a good day during one of their sales and you might just bag yourself a decent deal. Now, the meat. They've upped their game a bit, I'll give them that. They've got their USDA Choice beef, which is a step up from the usual supermarket rubbish, and their butcher department has been getting some decent reviews. The quality can be a bit hit and miss depending on your local store and the butcher's mood that day. Overall, Safeway is a bit like that reliable but boring mate you've known for years. Costco, the land of giant teddy bears, industrial-sized ketchup bottles, and USDA Prime beef? You heard that right, folks. Costco's got the good stuff, and they're not afraid to flaunt it. We're talking about prime cuts, aged to perfection, with marbling that would make a Wagyu cow jealous. And the best part, they come in bulk, you numpties. Perfect for stocking up your prepper pantry or just feeding a family of ravenous teenagers. Plus, their vacuum-sealed packaging is top-notch, keeping that meat fresher for longer. Overall, Costco is a bloody good option if you're looking for quality meat at a decent price. Right, let's talk about Sam's Club, the other big player in the bulk buying game. Now, they're like Costco's slightly less glamorous cousin, still good, but with a few rough edges. But don't let that fool you, because when it comes to meat, Sam's Club knows how to bring the heat. We're talking about fantastic deals on quality cuts, from grass-fed organic ground beef to prime brisket that would make your granny weep with joy. And let's not forget about their legendary $5 rotisserie chicken. Seriously, it's a thing of beauty. Juicy, flavorful, and cheaper than a night out at the pub. Just be prepared for the crowds, the overwhelming selection, and the temptation to buy everything in sight. All right, let's talk Stater Brothers. Now, they might not be a household name like some of the other giants on this list, but don't let that fool you. These guys are all about serving their local communities, and that includes providing some decent bloody meat. One thing that sets Stater Brothers apart is their commitment to customer service. They've got actual butchers, not just some bloke in a hairnet who wouldn't know a ribeye from a rump steak. And these butchers are ready to help you with whatever you need, whether it's a custom cut, a bit of seasoning, or even just some advice on how to cook your meat to perfection. Speaking of perfection, have you tried their ribeye steaks? They're something else. Tender, flavorful, and cooked to absolute perfection. So, if you're lucky enough to have a Stater Brothers near you, do yourself a favor and check it out. Now, for you lucky devils down in Texas, we've got H-E-B. This Texan institution is like a religion down south, and their meat department is no exception. They're all about sourcing high-quality meats from USDA Prime and Choice cuts to a range of organic and grass-fed options. And just like Stater Brothers, they've got a proper butcher counter with knowledgeable staff who can guide you through the cuts and help you find the perfect piece of meat for your needs. But the real star of the show at H-E-B is their commitment to freshness. They've got a strict, no-nonsense policy when it comes to their meat, so you can be sure that what you're getting is as fresh as a daisy. So if you're in Texas and you're looking for a good piece of meat, H-E-B is the place to be. All right, let's talk about WinCo Foods, the employee-owned grocery chain that's been quietly making a name for itself. Now, they might not have the glitz and glamour of some of the other stores on this list, but what they lack in fancy displays, they make up for in value. WinCo is all about providing quality products at affordable prices, and their meat department is no exception. They've got a decent selection of USDA Choice beef as well as a good range of pork and chicken. Just be sure to check the dates and give everything a good sniff before you buy because their quality can be a bit inconsistent. Right, let's talk about Sprouts Farmers Market, the health food store that's become as ubiquitous as a yoga studio in a hipster neighborhood. Now, Sprouts is all about fresh, organic, and ethically sourced products, and their meat department is no exception. They've got USDA Choice beef that's 100% grass-fed, which means those cows lived a happy life munching on pastures, not stuck in some concrete jungle. And if you're looking for something a bit different, they've got a great selection of organic chicken, wild-caught fish, and even some more exotic options like bison and ostrich. Now, all this goodness comes at a price, so be prepared to shell out a bit more for your meat at Sprouts. Right, let's talk about ShopRite. Now, ShopRite is one of those stores that's been around forever, but lately, their meat department has been about as appealing as a burnt sausage. The quality and selection, especially within their lower-priced store brands, have gone downhill faster than a shopping cart with a wobbly wheel. They rely heavily on prepackaged cuts from larger processing facilities, which means you're not getting the freshest or the best. And at ShopRite, you're often paying for mediocrity, so unless you're absolutely desperate, I'd steer clear of their meat department. Right, let's talk about Giant Eagle, the supermarket chain that's supposed to be as mighty as its name suggests. But when it comes to their meat department, it's more like a flightless bird. Despite having an in-house butcher, Giant Eagle has garnered more complaints about its meat quality than a vegetarian at a barbecue. Customers have reported everything from grayish beef that looks like it's been on a 3-day bender to chicken that tastes like it's been boiled in bleach. And to add insult to injury, their prices are often higher than their competitors, so unless you enjoy playing Russian roulette with your meat, I'd suggest giving Giant Eagle a miss. Right, let's talk about King Soopers, the grocery chain that's supposed to be royalty in the supermarket game. But when it comes to their meat department, they're more like a court jester, all jokes and no substance. Despite their royal name, King Soopers has earned an average rating of 3.93 for its meat department, which is about as impressive as a soggy biscuit. They've been known to inject their meat with salt water, which might sound harmless enough, but it actually affects the taste, texture, and shelf life. It's like they're trying to pump up their profits by pumping up their meat with water. So unless you enjoy the taste of salt water with a hint of meat, I'd suggest steering clear of King Soopers. Right, let's talk about Target, the retail giant that's become as ubiquitous as Starbucks. Now, Target is great for picking up cheap chic clothes, home decor, and pretty much anything else you can think of. But when it comes to meat, they're about as lost as a vegan at a steakhouse. Unlike some of the other supermarkets on this list, Target lacks expert butchers. Instead, they rely heavily on prepackaged, mass-produced meat that's been shipped in from who knows where. Customers have reported finding everything from grayish ground beef to chicken breasts that smell like old socks. So unless you're desperate for a side of disappointment with your groceries, I'd suggest giving Target's meat department a miss. All right, let's talk about Walmart, the retail behemoth that's become synonymous with low prices. Now, Walmart is great if you need to buy a gallon of milk, a pair of socks, and a new TV all in one go. But when it comes to meat, it's best to proceed with caution. Walmart sources its meat from large processing facilities, which means it's often been frozen, thawed, and repackaged before it even reaches the shelves. Customers have reported finding everything from grayish beef that looks like it's seen better days to chicken breasts that smell like they've been left out in the sun too long. So, unless you're absolutely desperate and on a shoestring budget, I'd suggest giving Walmart's meat department a miss. All right, let's talk about Trader Joe's, the quirky grocery chain that's become a cult favorite. Now, Trader Joe's is great for finding unique snacks, affordable wines, and those strangely addictive frozen meals. But when it comes to meat, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Unlike some of the other supermarkets on this list, Trader Joe's doesn't have a dedicated butcher counter. Instead, their meat is prepackaged and processed at a central location before being shipped out to stores. So, while Trader Joe's can be a good option for certain things, I'd approach their meat department with caution. Right, let's talk about Aldi, the discount grocery chain that's been taking the world by storm. Now, Aldi is fantastic for finding incredible deals on everything from groceries to home goods. But when it comes to meat, it's a bit of a hit-or-miss situation. Like many of the other supermarkets on this list, Aldi sources its meat from large processing facilities, which means it's often been frozen, thawed, and repackaged before it even reaches the shelves. Customers have reported finding everything from chicken breasts that smell like they've been sitting out for days to ground beef that's already turning gray. So unless you're absolutely desperate and working with a shoestring budget, I'd suggest approaching Aldi's meat department with caution. So, there you have it, you lot. The best and worst places to buy meat in 2024. Remember, when it comes to prepping, quality ingredients are bloody crucial. You don't want to be caught with a pantry full of subpar grub when disaster strikes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Chef Ramsay, this is all well and good, but what about preserving all this meat? Well, for that, I've got a little something special for you. There's a bloke named Claude Davis, a veteran prepper, who's written a bloody brilliant book about 126 superfoods and preservation methods from crisis times. You can find a link to his book in the description below. Now go forth and stock those pantries.